So, let's talk about Suzume. I just watched this movie on a Saturday because I remember this movie playing as a trailer in Demon Slayer to the Swordsmith Village, and I didn't think of nothing of it until I still remember it. So I decided to watch this movie in a theater on a Saturday and give my thoughts on it. Well, here I go, talking about this movie that I guess nobody remembers. Let me start off with the story. So the story is about Suzume trying to find out who her identity is, but also stumbling a guy who locks doors to keep away from a monster who plans to destroy the world. At the same time, a cat gets unleashed and turns the guy into a freaking chair, and it goes stumble upon misadventures together. And after that, the story becomes repetitive and formulaic. Like, you know what's gonna happen next. And also, here's a huge part of the movie that becomes a total flaw for me. This story is a complete mess and overwhelming. The third act is completely overwhelming. Like, we just got to the end of the movie and now they're setting like the twist that their mother and then this cat has another black cat. Like, what in the world? It doesn't help that the runtime is like 2 hours and 2 minutes, which I would ask, why in the world does this film need to be 2 hours long? Like, that is the longest time I've sat through a movie that has the longest runtime since New Gods and Avengers Endgame. Yeah, this is not the greatest anime story I've ever heard, but the relationship between Suzume and Sota is great. Like, you could easily tell their development is near. Like you are worried about their situations. You are worried about their outcomes. And again, that is the heart of this movie. Like, that's the good thing about this movie, is that the relationship between them. Also, another good thing about this film is the animation. Like, I love how they combine anime with 3D. It blends so well. It's like a 3D hybrid movie, if you want to call it that. My only criticism with the animation is that it could sometimes be off. It could sometimes be janky at times with the CG animation. But that's just nitpicking. Still, the animation is great. Let's move on to the characters, which are decent at the same time and sometimes annoying. Let's start off with Suzume. She's a girl who wonders who her identity is and also develops a relationship with Sota. Speaking of which, he's basically the guy who locks doors to keep away from the worm coming, while also sacrificing his death around the middle of the movie. And finally, we have Makoto, the antagonist of the film, and a cat character, which basically opens the door and becomes annoying. Like, seriously, he's so annoying. Like, really. Like, he does this crap every time and throughout the entire movie until the very end of the freaking movie. And the other characters, well, I don't care for them or aren't even interesting to talk about. So anything, you have the good and the annoying, which thankfully the good takes part of the movie. Well, I did not expect this film to be this overwhelming, but at least it's good. Suzume may not be a classic like Studio Ghibli films, with a messy plot, uninteresting characters, and annoying characters, but the relationship between the main characters and the animation is great. I only recommend watching this once, or if you could pass the messy story, you may enjoy this film. It may not be the greatest film ever made, but it's decent at best.
It was an Alaskan bull